Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Alone? Stop it. Alone. Yeah, hey, I got a loan. What a coincidence. What an amazing coincidence. If you've been hiding under a rock today, defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever he is for Ohio State, Chase Young, who I think is the best player in all of college football. I've been riding that train since the beginning of the season. The guy's absolutely unbelievable. You watched the Ohio State-Wisconsin game, one of the best defensive performances I've seen in a long, long time. The guy's an absolute beast. Ohio State puts a thing out this morning saying he's been ruled ineligible for the Maryland game, indefinite suspension pertaining to some illegal benefits, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the speculation starts running rampant right away like it always does. Oh, yep, Ohio State bought him. They went out and bought this guy. It's the old mistreatment here. How much did they pay for him? Yada, yada, yada. I mean, unfortunately, it's just gotten to that point in college football where you hear something like this and you automatically assume the worst. Well, in this case, turns out the worst is probably true. Now, Chase Young has put out a statement, and according to him, he took a loan from a family friend the summer before his freshman year at Ohio State. There's a lot of problems with this. We'll start with the obvious. He's a junior, okay? So, that's 17, 18, 19. This is his third year. He says he took out a loan the summer before that. That would be 2016. The summer of 2016, he took out a loan from a family friend. He claims he's paid it back. But anyway, so summer of 2016, he claims he took out a loan from a family friend. Guess what else happened in the summer of 2016? Yep, Chase Young committed to Ohio State. He committed in June or July. I looked the date up. I put it up on the screen if I can remember. I looked the date up. So he commits in June or July of 2016. Exact same time he claims he got the loan. I don't know what happened. I don't have no inside information or nothing, but it appears pretty obvious what happened here. Some Ohio State booster, somebody affiliated with Ohio State, bought Chase Young. I mean, that's just what it looks like, is it not? Yes, that is what it looks like. He paid it back. Family friend. Be curious to know how long this guy's been a family friend. Something tells me ever since Ohio State started recruiting him. Yeah, that's when he became a great family friend. This and who does this go back to? Who was at Ohio State during this time running the show? Oh yeah, human garbage, Urban Meyer. Now, I'm not saying Urban Meyer had anything to do with it or knew about it or whatever. There's, these coaches aren't stupid, generally speaking. So they keep some distance and separation between themselves and the people that do these kinds of things. I mean, you look at what was going on at Ole Miss. It wasn't like Hugh Freeze was riding around with a checkbook, buying those players. So, but anyway, the point is, it appears pretty obvious what happened here. Ohio State's going to have to suffer and deal with the consequences. And in my opinion, the consequences are Chase Young is done. Now, if they can prove it was a loan, and if they can prove it was from a family friend, and if they can prove Chase Young paid it back, and if they can prove Chase Young paid it back on his own, that's a one-game suspension, according to the NCAA. I just find it hard to believe that's what actually happened. Now, we all know in these cases, it's not what you know or what you think, it's what you can prove. The other thing we know is that the NCAA is completely inept at investigating these sorts of things, and they're not even-handed or fair when it comes to doling out punishments and suspensions and things like that. And here's the other issue, and this is the bigger problem, I think, for Ohio State. Let's pretend that Chase Young is telling the truth and it was some family friend that just gave him a loan of whatever amount and he paid it back on his own. No harm, no foul. How long do you think it's going to take the NCAA to figure that out? They're not in a hurry. They don't do anything in a hurry. Go back to, you Georgia fans will remember this, Todd Gurley getting suspended in 2014. For those that don't know, the way this stuff works is if the school finds out that something against the rules was done, or suspect something against the rules may have been done involving a player, they have no choice but to sit that player immediately. Ohio State doesn't have to sit Chase Young this weekend. The NCAA hasn't suspended him yet. They do their investigations before they announce their suspensions. The problem is, once the school knows something happened, if they choose to let that player play, and the NCAA later finds out that, yes, indeed, they did do something wrong and the school knew, then the school has to forfeit all the games that kid played in from the point that they knew it happened forward. So that's why Ohio State's got to sit him this week. And if you go back to the Todd Gurley situation, Georgia finds out that Todd Gurley sat in the back seat of some asshole's car and signed his name a couple hundred times and made, what did he make? I think he made $750 or something. They found out about that. So they had to suspend Gurley, and they notified the NCAA. A week goes by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nothing from the NCAA. No announcement, no ruling. Georgia's waiting. Tell us how long we have to suspend him, please, so we know. Meanwhile, he's not playing every week, and this happened in the middle of a season, not towards the end. Anyway, it was sort of widely considered that he would get a 3-game suspension. He sat out the 3 games. We still hadn't heard anything from the NCAA. We were thinking he would get to play that next week in the 4th game. What do you know? NCAA comes out and says, nope, 4-game suspension, so he had to sit out an extra game. Now, Georgia didn't get in any trouble beyond that because they discovered the violation. They reported it to the NCAA, and they did everything right from that point forward. And that's what Ohio State is doing now. That's why Chase Young is not playing this weekend. So that's fine that if he's telling the truth, then according to the NCAA, that's only a 1-game suspension. That's fine, but Ohio State can't take that chance. They're going to have to sit him out until the NCAA rules on this and hands down a decision or a suspension or a judgment or whatever it is they decide to do. And like I said, they ain't in no hurry. How long is Missouri? Oh, more on Missouri this afternoon, by the way, with the Hype and Hate video coming up. But how long has Missouri been waiting to hear on this appeal thing from their bowl ban? And even go back to Ole Miss. They investigated Ole Miss for like 2 years. Everyone knew what was going on at Ole Miss. Hell, you had players getting drafted from Ole Miss showing up at the NFL draft and giving interviews, basically admitting they were paid at Ole Miss. And it still took the NCAA 2 years to figure out what was going on. But at least Ohio State, Ole Miss was buying every player they could afford for about 2 or 3 years and never won anything. They couldn't even win a division. At least when Ohio State cheats, they become good. Ohio State won the Big Ten last year. They're on pace to win the Big Ten and make the college football playoff this year. We'll see how this affects that going forward. But at least Ohio State, when they're running around cheating and buying all these players like they're obviously doing, at least they win something. That's what was bad about the Ole Miss thing. Well, it was all bad, but that's what was the worst, is you got these people running around buying all these players and they still couldn't win anything. At least Ohio State's won a couple of Big Ten titles over the last couple of years in a Rose Bowl or something. They ain't made the playoffs, and when they did, they didn't score a damn point. But, at least they're a good team. Ole Miss wasn't, but I don't know what's going to happen with Ohio State here. Again, I don't know who knew or who knew what, when, and all that kind of stuff. I know Urban Meyer was the head coach, but guess who else was on that staff then, too? Ryan Day. And he's still there now, so how about let's get him to answer some questions, too. But anyway, and Ohio State fan, suck nuts, enjoy your weekend.